that. Being a delivery driver might seem like a simple job: pick up, drop off, and move on to the next. But once the sun goes down and the streets fall silent, some deliveries lead to places that shouldn't exist and encounters that defy logic. In this video, you'll hear 5 real stories from drivers who experienced things they still can't explain: strange, unsettling, and unforgettable. Turn off the lights, put on your headphones, and get ready to enter the unknown. This story comes from a delivery driver working the late shift in a quiet suburban town in northern Texas. It was just past midnight calm, no traffic, and his shift was nearly over. Then he received a food order going to a street he didn't recognize, tucked deep into an older part of town. The kind of street that didn't show up often in the app. The GPS led him down a narrow road lined with trees. He eventually reached the destination, a worn 2-story house with dim yellow lights glowing in the windows. It looked old, but not abandoned. The paint was faded, the shutters crooked. But there were fresh plants by the front steps, swaying gently in the wind. He knocked on the door. A few moments later, an elderly woman opened it. Her skin was pale, her grey hair tied back neatly, and she wore a long nightgown that looked like it belonged in another era. She gave him a soft, almost whispered "thank you for coming." So late, she paid in cash, took the bag, and slowly closed the door. Back in his car, the driver tried to mark the order as complete, but the app glitched. The address didn't exist. The street name wasn't listed, and the GPS no longer recognized his location. Confused, he restarted his phone. And suddenly, the map placed him several blocks away from where he thought he was. The next day, unable to shake the feeling, he drove back to that same spot. But the house was gone. In its place, an overgrown empty lot full of weeds and debris. He asked a neighbor nearby if there had ever been a house there. The man nodded slowly and said there was, but it burned down over 10 years ago. Old woman died inside. People still say she's waiting for someone. A chill ran down the driver's spine. He had delivered food to a house that hadn't stood for over a decade. A delivery driver in Chicago shared an experience that still haunts him years later. He had picked up an order for a customer in a luxury high-rise downtown, the kind of building with a doorman, security cameras, and shiny marble floors. The order was simple: noodles and iced tea. He arrived, checked in at the front desk, and was told to take the service elevator to the 14th floor. As he stepped inside, the elevator doors closed softly behind him. But instead of moving up, the elevator jolted slightly, then started descending. Confused, he hit the emergency button, but nothing responded. No lights, no sound, just the sensation of movement. After what felt like over a minute, the elevator finally stopped. The doors opened, but it wasn't the lobby. It wasn't any floor. It was ... something else. The hallway in front of him was long, narrow, and lit only by weak red lights. The walls were concrete. The air was cold and damp, and it smelled like metal. There were no signs, no door numbers, just darkness stretching in both directions. He stepped out slowly, thinking maybe he was in the parking garage, but his phone had no signal. Then, behind him, the elevator doors slammed shut. He ran back, pressed the call button repeatedly. Nothing. He turned to walk down the hallway when he heard footsteps behind him. Slow, steady, not hurried, just ... following. He turned. No one. But the sound continued. Closer. That was enough. He sprinted into the darkness, not even knowing where he was going. After what felt like an eternity, he saw a light in the distance, a faint green glow from an exit sign. He ran to it, pushed the door open, and suddenly found himself in the building's lobby. No alarms, no questions, just silence. The same doorman looked up and casually asked, "Back already?" He checked his phone to 6 minutes had passed, but to him it had felt like nearly an hour. He looked back toward the elevator. It was open now, empty. He delivered the food, quit the app that same week, and never set foot in that building again. A part-time delivery driver in Seattle received an order from a customer who requested discreet drop-off. No doorbell, no knock. Just leave the package at the door. It wasn't food, but a sealed box from a local specialty store. Nothing unusual until he got to the address. The house was at the end of a cul-de-sac, surrounded by dense trees. The porch light was off. No cars in the driveway. Still, the GPS confirmed the location. He walked up, placed the package carefully at the doorstep, and was about to take a photo for proof when he noticed something odd. The door was slightly open, like someone had just gone inside. But there was no sound, no movement. He called out softly, "Delivery for 7B, nothing." Feeling uneasy, he snapped the photo and quickly turned to leave. That's when he heard it, a soft thud behind him, like something had fallen near the door. He turned back. The package was gone. No one had opened the door. No one had come out. It had just ... vanished. More annoyed than scared, he checked his app marked as delivered. As he walked back to his car, he saw something tucked under his windshield wiper. It was a folded piece of paper. No one else was around. He opened it. Written in shaky handwriting were 4 words. "Don't deliver here again." That was it. No signature. No explanation. Confused and a little shaken, he looked back at the house. Light still off, door still open, just a crack. He got in his car and left. 2 days later, out of pure curiosity, he looked up the address on Google Maps. The review section had a single comment posted over a year ago. It read, "If you get an order here, cancel it." The person who lives there died in 2020. The comment had never been replied to, and the house, it had reportedly been vacant ever since. But a delivery driver in Pennsylvania received a grocery order late one evening. Nothing unusual. Bread, cereal, orange juice. The address was for a small duplex at the end of a narrow residential street. When he arrived, the top floor looked dark, but there was a dim light coming from a basement-level door on the side of the house. The delivery instructions said clearly, "Use basement entrance." Odd, but not unheard of. He walked down the narrow path and knocked on the basement door. No answer. He knocked again, louder. Still nothing. Just as he turned to leave, the door creaked open about 6 inches. From the darkness, a voice whispered, "Just leave it inside, please." But the voice sounded distant, almost like it was coming from the far end of a tunnel. The driver hesitated but gently pushed the door open further. Inside, it was pitch black. No lights, no sound, no movement. He turned on his phone flashlight and took one cautious step inside. There was a hallway leading deeper underground, too far for a basement that size. But at the end of the hall, something flickered like a candle. Then footsteps, slow, uneven, getting closer. Without thinking, the driver placed the bag just inside the door, stepped back, and closed it quickly. As he turned to leave, he heard something slam hard against the door from the inside. He ran back to his car and sped off. But when he checked the app, the order was gone. No history, no payment, just a single notification. "Thank you." A few days later, he passed by the same house again during the day. The basement entrance was boarded up, old, dusty, covered in spiderwebs. The neighbor outside said no one had lived in the house for years. The basement had flooded and been sealed off after someone went missing down there. But the driver never took another order without checking the entrance first. But a delivery driver in New Jersey got an order late one evening for a house in a quiet suburban neighborhood. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. A regular address. When he arrived, the house looked well kept. Lights on inside, the kind of place where someone might be finishing dinner or watching TV. He walked up, knocked on the door, and waited. A man opened it, mid-30s clean cut, wearing a dress shirt and slacks, like he had just come back from work. He smiled, thanked the driver, and took the bag. Normal exchange. As the driver walked back to his car, the app pinged with a message, "Order cancelled. Do not deliver." Confused, he looked back at the house, but the lights were now off. All of them. In the 15 seconds it took to read the message and turn around, the house looked dark and abandoned. He walked back up to the door and knocked again. No answer. He peeked inside through the side window. What he saw didn't make sense. The inside of the house was completely empty. No furniture, no curtains, just bare walls and dust-covered floors. Like no one had lived there in years. He stepped back, checked the address. It was correct. The same number, same street. Back at his car, the app now showed a new update. Customer unreachable. Refund issued. The original order vanished from his history. The house was later confirmed to be vacant for over 6 months. Neighbors said the last tenant moved out and the place had been listed for sale. No one should have been inside. No one should have opened the door. And yet, the driver could still remember the man's face, calm, polite, and smiling like he was expecting someone. A delivery driver in New Jersey got an order late one evening for a house in a quiet suburban neighborhood. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. A regular meal, a regular address. When he arrived, the house looked well kept. Lights on inside, the kind of place where someone might be finishing dinner or watching TV. He walked up, knocked on the door, and waited. A man opened it. Mid-30s, clean-cut, wearing a dress shirt and slacks, like he had just come back from work. He smiled, thanked the driver, and took the bag. Normal exchange. As the driver walked back to his car, the app pinged with a message, "Order cancelled. Do not deliver." Confused, he looked back at the house, but the lights were now off. All of them. In the 15 seconds it took to read the message and turn around, the house looked dark and abandoned. He walked back up to the door and knocked again. But no answer. He peeked inside through the side window. What he saw didn't make sense. The inside of the house was completely empty. No furniture, no curtains, just bare walls and dust-covered floors, like no one had lived there in years. He stepped back, checked the address. It was correct. The same number, same street. Back at his car, the app now showed a new update. Customer unreachable. Refund issued. The original order vanished from his history. The house was later confirmed to be vacant for over 6 months. Neighbors said the last tenant moved out and the place had been listed for sale. No one should have been inside. No one should have opened the door. And yet, the driver could still remember the man's face, calm, polite, and smiling like he was expecting someone.